The 5th Dark Angel has joined Tacticus as Forcas, the Inner Circle companion, becomes the 91st character overall to join the game. Today we'll see if he's as good as the Dark Angels need him to be. The 5th Dark Angel character has arrived in Tacticus as Forcas joins us, and this means that all current teams now have a complete 5 character set. That means that faction wars are going to get very spicy, with 18 teams able to compete fully, and with the NPCs being added a couple of patches ago to each team, I think there's a real chance that this could become my favourite mode in the game, but only if we continue to get active balancing for the teams. In lore, deep in the shadowed halls of the Dark Angel's Fortress Monastery, past the sealed vaults and whispering reliquaries, there walk warriors with cryptic symbols of penance and secrecy. These are the Inner Circle companions, the silent swords of the chapter's most damning secret. They are not commanders, they are not chaplains, they're something rarer. Chosen from the Deathwing's elite, these companions are handpicked not just for their prowess, but for an unshakable loyalty to the chapter's hidden cause, the relentless eternal hunt for the fallen, those of their own brethren who turned traitor in the wake of the Horus Heresy. Each companion has stood before the Inner Circle and been told a sliver of truth of these traitors, and it's a truth so dark, so absolute, that it could break lesser men. In accepting it, they become silent sentinels of the chapter's shame. Their purpose is twofold: to guard the Dark Angel's highest officers, and to stand ready should that terrible secret ever be threatened. In battle, they move with grim finality, wielding Carbonite greatswords with breathtaking skill, fighting in complete silence, save for the whine of their armor servos and the crunch of their blades through flesh and bone. They don't fight for glory, but for redemption. As always in this series, we're going to take a look at 3 different things: how long it roughly takes to level him up to Diamond 3 when compared to other characters, his traits and general usefulness, how good he is in legendary events, and I won't be looking too much into his usefulness in guild raids or tournaments, as I leave that to our other wonderful content creators. So let's dive right in. Forcas will be unlocked in the character release event starting on May the 11th. This one is the Inner Circle, and this is going to be very much in line with the other character events. It sees you collecting dark secret points by completing missions, which are then converted into interrogation notes. These allow you to open lion chests, which have the Inner Circle shards and other goodies within them. These shards can be used to unlock and level up Forcas, and you can see the missions on screen now. If you need help with these missions and getting the best possible start, then definitely check out my beginner's guide to character events, which is linked in the description below. Basically, if you play through the tournament arena and spend 110 blackstone per day, we will definitely be able to pick up each character at Epic 1 level, without the need to purchase additional packs. And the gifts don't stop here, as together we have blasted through the 6k subscriber mark. This unbelievable new record has gained us an all new code, DBP6K. This is going to open 15 Barraquel shards and 6k gold. These codes only last for a week, so definitely make sure you use it this week. And it doesn't stop here though. We have some incredible goals to reach this year. With every 1000 subscribers, another new code will be added, and I know with your support that we are going to hit that 7k viewers mark very soon. So hit that subscribe button, get your guildmates to do the same, and keep an eye out for my weekly videos. And in the meantime, if you want to earn some free blackstone to help you on your way, you can use my Referral Code in-game today to get 100 free blackstone. Just note, you can only use one Referral Code, so make sure you make the most of it. And let's start by looking at roughly how long it takes them to level from Stone 1 to Diamond 3. The reason I say roughly is because my sheets don't take into account all the extra ways you can get free energy, like in the tournament arena, nor getting items gifted from your guildmates or from the daily shop. It also doesn't take into account any hard to get items that haven't been added in lots of places yet, but even with all that in mind, it's always interesting to see how they compare to the other characters. So what about Forcas? Where does he fit in? Well, he comes in 82nd place, and that makes him the easiest Dark Angel to level. It takes him 37 days to go from Stone 1 to Diamond 3, so if you're a fan and you want to round out your team, then definitely pick him up. And if we look at the graph, we can see him all the way over there on the right hand side. It takes Forcas 3 days to go from Stone 1 to Bronze 1, another 2 days from Bronze 1 to Silver 1, 4 days to Gold 1, 13 days to Diamond 1, and then 15 days to Diamond 3, which of course adds back up to the total 37 days. So if he's decent, then we might be seeing him in a few lineups. Let's check together if he is. We'll start with his traits. Forcas is an Imperial character. He has a Power 6 melee attack, which has a 40% pierce ratio, and no ranged attack. He has the Camouflage trait, which reduces ranged attacks against him by 1 hit if an enemy is shooting from within 2 hexes. This increases to 2 hits being reduced if they are further away, and then rises to 3 hits being reduced if he's in tall grass. It never reduces below 1 hit, which means that it doesn't really impact snipers or psychers, who usually only have 1 big hit anyway. With his Parry trait, he also reduces multi-hit meleeing characters by 1 hit, again to a minimum of 1 hit. This can have a decent impact on different characters, especially if they have between 2 and 3 hits. Someone like Maladis, with 3 big hits, will lose 1/3 of his damage, although it's less important for someone like Ragnar who has 7 hits. Now let's take a look at the character's damage, range damage, and defense. We do this by leveling the character up to Winged Diamond 3 with level 30 skills and no weapons or equipment. Then Castellan Creed, the character with the most average armor and traits in the game, becomes a punching bag for them to test their damage. And finally, Creed will punch them back to see their defensive skills. This is all then ranked against everyone else in the game. So let's see how they do today. Creed, are you ready for today's test?
I don't know, it looks like rain.
Rain?
Well, that's what the Forcas said this morning.
Really, Creed?
It was either that or something about 4 candles. He doesn't speak much, does he?
Forcas melee attack does 3,261 damage, and he takes 1,630 damage from Creed. So on a base level, with that damage, he's already in 22nd place. But, as we're going to find out shortly, this really doesn't tell the whole story about his skills, as his skills will make a real difference to this. If we look at defense, he comes in 18th place, and again, that's really decent. This will really depend on who's actually attacking him. He's not quite up there with the Terminator armorers of this world, but he definitely isn't bad. And again, as we'll see in a moment, his skills will play a part here. For his skills, his passive is Enmity of the Unworthy, which is probably one of the best sounding passives in the game, and it's in the damage category of skills. And this is the skill that I meant that would really change his damage against Creed in our tests if he was set up in the right way. For every adjacent unit, he deals extra damage, and if any of them are Dark Angels, then wow, he really deals a lot of extra damage. So this means that he shouldn't be a loner going off by himself to fight, but instead constantly be surrounded by his allies. Should this be prioritized as a skill over others for new players? No, I never recommend damage skills unless you're focusing on these champions specifically. His active is Carbonite Greatsword, and this is also in the damage category of skills. This is basically a stance switch, and he can do this once every turn. If he's in strike stance, then he goes into Overwatch at the end of his turn. If he defeats a unit while in Overwatch, then he goes again but with 2 less hits. So if he hasn't had his hits reduced somehow, then he can do up to 3 Overwatch attacks against melee champions. His other stance is Sweep Stance, and it's pretty cool if you need him to be a bit more aggressive. Here, his normal attacks deal 3 power damage hits to the initial target, and also any other enemies adjacent to that target. And that's pretty insane because it means he gets up to 9 hits on the original target, although the last 3 are coming in around 1/3 of the damage of his normal attacks. So, a defensive and an aggressive stance. Should this be prioritized as a skill over others for new players? Not for me, because of it being a damage skill, and there are more other important ones in the game. So what do I think about his traits and skills? Well, there's one thing. He's very thematic, and his skills definitely are super cool. I love stance switching champions, so I can't wait to have a proper play with him. His traits fit this tough dude without allowing him to be really overpowered, and he does fit in best with the other Dark Angels, of course. He really rounds out that team, and when he's standing alongside them, oh boy, is he going to pack a real punch. 9 hits while in sweep stance, that's crazy. So yeah, from that regard, I really like him as a champion. In terms of the modes, he doesn't have the widest range of traits, and currently they're not the most used traits either. So I don't think he's going to have the biggest use in legendary events, but let's see shortly. For guild raids, we have such a wide range of champions, it's difficult to predict if he's going to really take the place of the big boys at the very top of the meta, but he's definitely close to them, especially if he has another couple of Dark Angels next to him, maybe Asmodee and Sarkwell in there. I will say one thing, I think we spend far too much time worrying about what the top teams are trying to do, rather than just playing with characters that we enjoy and bringing them to D3. You can still hit most of the guild raid bosses as hard as possible and have fun while you're doing it. So don't get hung up on meta and focus on what you enjoy doing. This is a game after all. For Tournament or Faction Arena, any big hitter has a place, but especially in Faction Arena, I expect to see Dark Angels a lot. They were already a pain in my face in the last tournament, and once people have him, I expect him to be a real staple. So who does he work well with? So he's okay in teams that don't have any Dark Angels in them, as long as you keep him next to other champions and you deathball around him. For legendary events, that means an Isabella team will be great, but for the rest, I still think I'd rather have Godswill or Ragnar, as they're just more predictable in their damage output, and if I want defense, then someone like Maladis or Kalgar fits that slot better. So it really does fall to see him, so it really does end up with him being in the Dark Angels team, and here he really shines. The team is serious, and he fits perfectly into it, bringing the rest of them together. Barakwell and Sarkwell are already starting to be two of the characters I play around a lot with in normal arena, so I don't see any reason that Forcas won't be joining them. And so I'm really happy to see the teams being rounded out, and that none of them have big holes in them anymore. I think the Dark Angels are a real force to be reckoned with, and Snowprint has done them proud as a team. As he's a character release champ, I'll definitely be picking him up, and I've already started saving a little energy to do just that. Moving on to legendary events, let's take a look and see where he fits in. The Karn event has left us, and so we're going to begin with the Mephiston event. In the Alpha track, Imperials can't be used, so he doesn't score any points. In the Beta track, he appears in the No Big Target and minimum 3 hits battles. In the Gamma track, he appears in the Power, No Mechanical, and minimum 3 hits battles. And so in the Mephiston event, he ends up with 290 points, which is above the 234 points, which is the average score for this event currently. So a good start. In the Pattermine event, in the Alpha track, he appears in the Melee battle. In the Beta track, Imperials are not allowed to be used, so he doesn't score any points. And then in the Gamma track, he appears in the No Overwatch, No Final Vengeance, minimum 4 hits, and power battles. And this gives him a good score of 330 points, which again is above the average score for this event, which is 276, and so another decent result. Moving to the Dante event, in the Alpha track, he appears in the Power battle. In the Beta track, he doesn't appear in any battles. And in the Gamma track, because Imperials can't be used, again he doesn't appear in any battles. And so he finishes the Dante event with 65 points. The average here is 195, so well below the average. And all of that leaves him in 52nd place, which is right in the middle of all champions, and I actually think that this is a decent result considering he can't use any of his traits in battle, but let's hope we see some changes there in the future. We've also seen a change in the top 10 due to the Karn event leaving us, and we can now see that Xenos are back owning the top spots, and most of the top 10 in truth, although we are seeing more Imperials jumping into the list. Unbelievably, the Chaos Forces are nowhere to be seen. Complete heresy. One of my favourite legendary champions in the game, Tyrant Guard, is at the top spot, and if you want to be successful in legendary events, I think you should definitely pick him up and push him a little bit. Another two key champions are Aleph Null and Revas, who I would recommend getting to D3 purely for their power in this event. And finally, rounding off the list at the bottom is Tangida, just a brilliant champion due to his spawns distracting enemies. He helped me finish some stage 14 battles in the Karn event with weaker allies because of these little dudes. For the rest, I don't feel they're actually great in this mode by themselves. You need to overlevel them all in order to get a payoff from them. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this top 10. They may appear in many battles, but they're certainly not the most powerful champions in them. So what do you think of Forcas? Will this silent stance switching old dude be leaving your enemies feeling unworthy, or will he be left with your other Stone 1 characters in your pile of shame? You can check him out right now in the latest version of the Google Planner Sheets link below.